Well, if it isn't the consequences of their own actions. I'm here to talk about the Pandora Papers. If you haven't heard about this recent bombshell, it's coming to us from the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. That is quite a mouthful, but if you haven't heard of this group before, it's over 600 journalists, and they recently dropped some fire mixtapes on us back in 2016, known as the Panama Papers. Now, this entire effort, they really dug into some crazy stuff. It's 2.9 terabytes of data that amounts to almost 12 million documents. That's really showcasing the secret financial transactions of the rich, powerful, and famous. It is absolutely insane. 35 current and previous world leaders, over 300 politicians, and many others. Some of the crazy names on the list is the former Prime Minister of Britain, Tony Blair, Elton John, even our boy Ringo Starr has made this list. And potentially, at least in totality, this could add up to $32 trillion in money that's avoided taxes, offshore entities, shell companies, and trusts. It is absolutely insane. Now, this is obviously a very new and developing story, so here's what you need to know of for at least now. In terms of the global economy, at least thus far, we're not really seeing much of an impact from the Pandora Papers. In terms of large Western economies, the only person who was really named was Roberto Neto, who happens to be Jerome Powell's counterpart down there in Brazil, but he doesn't have the same level of influence, so we're really not seeing any huge negative fallout because of his naming in these documents. Now, in terms of Wall Street, you can honestly pretty much say the same thing. We're not really seeing a huge adverse reaction. There were two main prominent corporate level people named, the founder of SoftBank and then the founder of Reliance Group, and neither have commented on it thus far. But even though they were named, like I said, we're not really seeing that huge negative fallout. In terms of the U.S. political system, the president has yet to address these Pandora Papers, but we do have some interesting commentary from something that was written back in June. When leaders steal from their nation's citizens or oligarchs flout the rule of law, economic growth slows, inequality widens, and the trust in government plummets. Corruption threatens United States national security, economic equity, global anti-poverty and development efforts, and democracy itself. But by effectively preventing and countering corruption and demonstrating the advantages of transparent and accountable governance, we can secure a critical advantage for the United States and other democracies. Now, I know, this sounds really nice, and the current political regime is talking the talk, and only time will tell if they truly walk the walk. Now, there is something that I want you to know about that relates to the Pandora Papers and the US, and that's specifically South Dakota. It does appear as if South Dakota, the state within the US, has become an offshore destination for some of the world's most wealthy people to hide their money. The ICIJ commented, year after year in South Dakota, state lawmakers have approved legislation drafted by trust industry insiders, providing more and more protections and other benefits for trust customers in the U.S. and abroad. Customer assets in South Dakota trusts have more than quadrupled over the past decade to $360 billion. Folks, that is billion with a B. In fact, this entire bout of insanity has gotten so far out of hand that the Washington Post even said South Dakota now rivals notoriously opaque jurisdictions in Europe and the Caribbean in financial secrecy. What in the world is going on? Now, Matt, this all sounds crazy, but it's just South Dakota, right? It's not like we have to worry about another state within the union. Unfortunately, there were actually two other states named within the Pandora Papers. Both Florida and Nevada were named as tax havens that people commonly take advantage of. I'm well aware that the ethos of these Pandora Papers, many of you watching right now will not find shocking. I know. Color me surprised. The rich, wealthy, powerful people are hiding their money. I don't think anyone is truly finding this jaw-dropping. It's more of confirmation of something that we all kind of knew was going on. Now, fortunately, it doesn't seem to be having an impact on the global economy, and it doesn't really seem to be having an impact thus far on the U.S. markets, but it does beg the question, what's going to be done? What can be done? In all reality, I don't have that answer. I'm not sure that anyone has that answer. We are almost seemingly relying on current politicians and regulators to take care of it, but we all know that there's a huge sense of cronyism within the world's elite. In my personal opinion, the best thing that we could do in this moment in time is continue to highlight the illegal, illicit, and nefarious actions and hope that at least some world leader steps up. And maybe I'm being naively optimistic, but we need someone with power and influence to step up and finally start fighting this corruption. Now, that's all I have for you today. I would love to get your thoughts on this entire Pandora paper debacle in a comment below. And until I catch you next time, best of luck in the markets.